of silence for all the heroes out there.
Don't you have to be silent for a moment of silence?
I don't think so. It's optional. Hello and welcome to the Flick and the Frame. That's right, we're here in person. You can see our beautiful bodies now. We are here. We're witnessing. Ty, how you feeling? How you feeling being on camera?
I feel like you're a bit of a jerk.
Why do you say that?
Why are you wearing a suit?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah. Well, I'm wearing the suit, Ty, because I'm attending a funeral today.
Oh my God.
For those of you who don't know, or if you clicked on this video and you don't know, that's kind of odd. But the Sony universe of Marvel characters has died. Aww. I'm gonna put in an "aww" sound effect right there. It's gonna be really good.
Are you gonna leave this part in too?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So the Sony universe of Marvel characters is dead. Long live the Sony universe of Marvel characters. No. But thank you for joining us today on the Flick and the Frame. Today we're going to be getting into the Sony universe of Marvel characters, its history, its reception, its legacy. We're going to talk about some numbers. We're going to give some opinions, and we're going to show some other people's opinions. Stick around till the very end. I've put together a cute little in memoriam edit. It's going to be really nice. It's going to make you really sad. It's going to be like the final scene in Venom 3 where it plays Maroon 5.
Yeah. So it does exactly what we say we're going to do. Before we get started, Ryan, I'm unfortunately, I'm going to give you a little bit of work. Okay. Because we had a conversation when we did this whole, recording situation.
Oh, yes.
Where you were very specific on my etiquette with the mic and
yes.
what I need to do and what I can't do.
Very specific.
Now, I'm going to do my very best. Okay. But I'm not making promises. So I need a counter from you for every time that I do something you told me not to do.
Yeah. Do I have to count live, like while we're doing it, or I just put it in the video later?
Put it in the video.
Okay.
Just in the bottom corner. Yeah. Ty fucks up.
Tell you what, next time we do like a quiz or like some trivia.
Yeah.
However many points you rack up for this, I'll just deduct that from your next score.
Because I'm telling you right now, I'm a fidgety guy.
Yeah.
I'm fidgety.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect fidget tool.
Do you want me to go get you like a fidget toy?
No.
I think we'll just leave the cameras rolling and I'll go get you something.
No, it's okay. I'm good. I'm going to do my very best. I'm going to be on my best behavior for this.
All right, everybody. He's going to be on his best behavior. This is recording. So
I'm going to be on my best behavior.
This is video evidence. We have a witness here as well. Special shout out to Kayla for coming over and helping us with the setup today. Really appreciate her help. We're also using her phone. So anytime you're looking at us in the wide like this, that's Kayla's phone. Big shout out to Kayla and her phone. Yeah. Anyways, let's get into it. Ty, how are you feeling about the Sony universe of Marvel characters? Where are you at with it? Yeah. Big sigh.
I'm glad to see it gone.
Oh, okay.
I doubt it's gone for good.
No, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, obviously. There's that whole deal that they've got. But I'm glad that we at least have a break from really, truly terrible movies.
Okay.
For just a little bit. There
was no like redeeming qualities for you? Because you, from memory, you like Venom 1.
I do like Venom 1.
Yeah, and you like Madam Web.
No, stop. Don't put that on the internet. Don't establish that for me.
Okay. It's true.
I do like Venom 1. It is true. I love Madam Web. I do like Venom 1. In fact, I think Venom 1 was good.
Tolerable.
It's like I would say like 6.5 tier movie.
Wow.
Out of 10.
That's a big rating.
That's good.
For a Sony universe of Marvel movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Considering the next best movie is like a 4, I'd say that's pretty impressive.
Okay.
So I guess like because every single one that came after it is just like so abysmal, it even sours how decent the first Venom movie
just leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah, because like I go and I watch the first Venom movie and then I'm like, oh, but then everything that happened after it, like it just doesn't work for me anymore. But it is what it is. I'm happy to see it gone.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think from the get go, because I mean we've known each other for a long time now, and when the Venom movie first initially came out, I remember expressing to you that I was not looking forward to it because it's like MCU adjacent. Like it's not
real, essentially.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't like count for anything. And not that that means anything to me. Like not that it has to
be canon.
Be a part of a larger universe or it has to be canon. you know, at the end of the day, I just want good movies. And for me, like, I love comic book movies. So, like, if I'm going to watch a comic book movie, like, I want it to be good, obviously.
Right, yeah.
And Sony just has a track record of not producing good movies. And so, for me, it's frustrating because, like, I want to see good stories. I want to see good movies. And also, I feel like these movies kind of dilute the overall comic book movie medium.
Right.
You know, because general fans probably don't realize, you know, like when the Sony Marvel movie starts, it's like the dreaded in association with Marvel,
right.
You know?
And understand it doesn't actually have anything to do with like the main cinematic universe, the implications of like everything that happens in that Sony verse doesn't affect the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Also, this video is sponsored by Columbia Pictures, and this is in association with Marvel.
I don't know if you could say that.
I'll just cut it later. It's fine. I'll just put a little tag that says not true. Not true.
This episode is not canon. Everything that happened in this episode will not appear in subsequent episodes. Yeah.
But no, you're right. Like, because general audience members, they don't realize that Venom isn't in the MCU. And then you have like Michael Keaton as Vulture turn up in Morbius.
Yeah.
And it kind of throws a wrench in the whole thing because you're like, wasn't he in Spider-Man Homecoming?
Or even Tom Hardy like popping up in the end credits
of No Way Home.
No Way Home. And it's like, oh, I wish you wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just dilutes the overall, you know, kind of what we're getting from comic book movies in terms of like what Disney is producing, what Warner Brothers is producing, and what other independent, you know, movies we're getting based off comic book material. Just kind of dilutes the whole thing, makes it, you know, to where eventually it's going to dry up. But, you know, one thing I will miss about these movies is they're fun. They're
fun to laugh at.
Exactly. Like, I have fun laughing at them. Like, when we went and saw Craven,
we had a good time watching
the most enjoyable part of Craven was just how terrible it was.
Yeah, it was really bad.
And how we would, like, at one point, I think it was the part where Russell Crowe's character is like, your brother, he's like a chameleon. And, like, we both, like, did the turn to each other.
That theater did not pass the vibe check. Because we were in there the whole time, like, snickering to ourselves. We were probably the annoying people.
We were the only people laughing, I think. Well, no, there were some people in front of us. There was people in front of us as well.
But it was just like, yo, he could do anyone. Yeah. He's like a chameleon.
What I really liked, too, was every now and again, I would look over at our friend Vickers, and he would just be like,
slumped,
passed out asleep. Which is like, yeah, you definitely have like three types of audience members when you go see those movies. It's like the people who it's boring and you end up falling asleep. The people who are like, this is good or this is okay at the very least. Like, yeah, this is a movie. I paid for it. And then you have like people like us who are hating it, but also trying to find enjoyment in it
for
at the
what
same
it
time.
is, right? Because I love a bad movie.
I agree. Yeah.
I think a bad movie has a place. I think the idea that every single movie needs to be a masterpiece is like harmful to like cinema as a whole.
I mean, sure, I wouldn't hate it if every movie was great,
right? But like, I think bad movies have a place.
Yeah.
If anything, just for something to talk about.
Yeah. It's also, you know, I think it's a good palate cleanser, like when you watch a bad movie, because if you watch nothing but good movies all the time, then your kind of frame of reference for like what's good gets diluted.
It makes you appreciate the good movies all the more because of how terrible some can be.
I agree. So overall, me personally, not a big fan of the Sony universe of Marvel characters and just really anything Sony's been doing the last decade plus. But I have managed to find enjoyment in what they have been doing. So.
At least in the poorness. Yeah. You know.
So just a quick history of kind of how we got to this point. So Sony acquired the rights to Spider-Man, his supporting characters, and his rogues gallery in the early 90s.
When Marvel was hilariously poor.
Yes. Yeah. They were going bankrupt all the time, literally selling desks and filing cabinets just to pay their current month's rent. And still behind on other payments and whatnot. So selling out their movie rights was pretty much the only way that kind of kept them afloat for a good while. And they originally sold the rights to MGM, who, if you don't know, James Cameron was going to make a Spider-Man movie with Leonardo DiCaprio.
I had read something about that, about Leo specifically.
That was the initial plan.
I didn't know it was James Cameron led, though. I just knew about Leo.
James Cameron, yeah. James Cameron, Leonardo DiCaprio. That was the original plan for a Spider-Man movie, but
Spider-Man: The Way of Web.
Yes. I'll mock up a poster for that. It's really great.
Thank you.
Here it is. Yeah, so James Cameron was supposed to do it in the 90s. Didn't end up happening for whatever reason. I'll probably put it in the video somewhere. And then the rights traded hands to Sony. And Sony then went on to make the Sam Raimi trilogy with Tobey Maguire.
That's a high note to start with.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like really set the bar very high for comic book movies. Because like before that, really the only one that was worth a damn was like Blade. In terms of Marvel movies,
which to most people, a lot of people don't even like Blade.
I like Blade.
I think Blade's great.
I like Vampire Blood Raves.
I'll say it.
That's pretty cool.
This is crazy. I kind of even like Blade Trinity, like just a little bit.
I like the vibes of Blade Trinity, but Blade Trinity's a mess.
I like that Blade Trinity like is kind of the precursor to Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like without Blade Trinity, we don't have X-Men Origins Wolverine, and then we don't have Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool.
I think Sony also likes Blade Trinity because all of the movies that they've made in the past decade all have that like 2000s comic book movie feel. Like they feel like they're from that era.
They haven't progressed in CGI or choreography or camera work.
Yeah, nothing at all. Just horseshit. So yeah, the Sam Raimi trilogy came out. That ran from like 2002 to 2007. And then the Dark Knight trilogy happened, and Sony was like, "Oh, we need to go in like this like dark and edgy kind of direction. You know, that's what people want." And when, as a result of the Dark Knight trilogy, we got like Man of Steel, which was like a darker take on Superman, and we also got Amazing Spider-Man, which was like a darker, more realistic take on Spider-Man. Very wet, very slick costume.
Wet.
Yeah. And then in response to the MCU growing in popularity and money, Sony was like, "Oh, we have to start our own cinematic universe." And then we got Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is literally just a trailer for their future movies. There's that one scene of that guy in the hat walking through the Oscorp underground lair, and it's like you see like the Vulture's costume, you see like all the different heroes.
Rhino at the end, literally just like setting up like, hey, this is the beginning of the next movie.
Yeah, essentially, and they were planning on making Amazing Spider-Man 3, and Andrew Garfield was actually considered for joining into the MCU for Civil War. Some early thoughts that went into it was they were going to include the Oscorp Tower in Avengers, like in New York, like it was going to be there, the one from Amazing Spider-Man 1. And Kevin Feige actually had like he wasn't involved, but he gave notes on Amazing Spider-Man 2, basically like, fix this movie. Like, I'm not going to take this character if you're going to make this piece of dog shit.
And then they released it anyway.
And then they didn't take his notes and they released it anyways. Yeah. And then Andrew Garfield, the fans of Spider-Man weren't too keen on those movies anymore. They threw out the idea. And this is around the time when the Sony Marvel hack happened, or just the Sony hack in general.
Hack, yeah.
Yeah. And we got a bunch of bits of like behind the scenes drama about like what Sony was trying to do. And that's where it was revealed that Marvel and Sony had talks about incorporating Spider-Man into their universe. And that all kind of fell through with the failure of Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Right.
There was also leaked information about a Sinister Six movie, a Aunt May movie where she's a spy.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine?
Especially I guess they would have done it obviously back in time. I was thinking like the busted old Aunt May.
No, it wouldn't be Sally Fields. Or like the really old version. She's like, I don't know what I'm doing.
The Amazing Spider-Man version, she was a little younger.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you do a Marissa Tomei Aunt May spy movie, like I would pay money for that.
I'm in.
Yeah. That didn't end up happening. Although I would love to live in the alternate reality where like it did come to fruition, just so I could laugh at it.
Yeah, I guess.
But Aunt May's solo movie and a few other projects, including like the Amazing Spider-Man 3 and whatnot. But none of those really came to fruition. The Sinister Six movie, it seems like they were trying to build towards that, but it never really kind of got off the ground the way they wanted to.
So what would have been like Sony's original Sinister Six, like in that movie? Who do you think it would have been? Did they say?
I don't think they knew. Well, I was like, who do they have?
Well, it would have been probably Electro.
Okay.
It probably would have had Lizard, potentially.
Played by Rhys Ifans?
Yeah.
Okay.
It probably would have had Rhino.
Yeah. It's 3. Who else we got?
I know that like they obviously made this newer Craven movie because they had that intention, so they probably could have potentially brought Craven around that time.
Okay. You're at 4. Who else you got?
Man, I don't know who else
Goblin?
they could have done.
No, is he in the...
Goblin's in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
It's a new Goblin, though.
Yeah.
It's not...
That's right.
Yeah, because it's Harry Osborn.
Yeah. Well, they could always bring Norman back. Or say he never died.
Or even just use Harry as part of
as
it, I
new
guess.
Goblin.
Yeah.
Or bring back James Franco and his snowboard.
Hey, believe it or not, I like James Franco as Green.
I don't hate it. I mean, I grew up with that movie, so for me,
I think now I don't like James Franco as a whole.
Bump,
yeah,
bump.
that's not great. But in that role, I think it was fine.
Yeah, I didn't
especially
mind it.
since before that, like I'd really only ever watched Freaks and Geeks with him. I mean, granted, I was like 7 years old, so I didn't really understand what Freaks and Geeks was. But seeing like him jump from that to Spider-Man was pretty nutty.
All right, so you got Electro, Lizard, Rhino, Craven, Goblin. Who's your 6? Just pick a wild card.
I mean, it'd be Vulture. If you saw the Vulture suit in Amazing Spider-Man 2,
Makes
so
sense.
it would be Vulture.
Sense. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's 6 there.
Yeah, you could put Madam Web in the Sinister 6. Or Venom, or Carnage. Yeah.
Morbius, of course, yes.
Yeah. It seems like that Morbius post-credit scene with Michael Keaton was trying to set up a Sinister Six with Morbius.
Morbius in being in the like inaugural class of the Sinister Six is gross, I think.
Yeah, he's not normally in the Sinister Six either. I might be wrong.
I'm sure there's
if I'm
been
wrong, I'll put it
where
in the
he
video.
has been, but he's definitely not part of like the first Sinister Six.
No, the initial team is
Electro,
Vulture,
Rhino.
Shocker, Electro. No, is Shocker in it? No. I think you named most of the initial team.
I think Shocker is in the original one.
Maybe.
I think Shocker is like, because he's so lame, he doesn't really like make his way through
He's
media.
very C-tier.
But he was like I think he was like an OG like big villain for Spider-Man.
Yeah,
so
I mean, like initial issues of Spider-Man were just like, it was like one issue, you get this one villain, and then next week it was somebody different. And
think about is it the Amazing Spider-Man or is it Unlimited? Which Spider-Man series is it where it's like, get back here, Shocker?
Oh, that's Spider-Man the Animated Series from '94. Yeah. Oh, that's a great show.
What a voice line that was.
That actor. I never knew who he was, and then the other day I saw what he looks like now. Here's a picture. Looks for me, seeing him, I'm like, that's crazy that he voiced Peter Parker. Like he's the voice of Peter Parker that I hear in my head when I read Spider-Man comics.
Really? It's Yuri.
Oh, yeah.
I can't hear anyone but Yuri.
I'm so happy that they put
in Marvel
Yuri in
Rivals.
Marvel Rivals.
Yeah, dude,
that's great.
Yuri, he's completely taken that role over. Actually, my Spider-Man voice is Neil Patrick Harris.
He did it once. Yeah,
he did twice.
Did he?
Perhaps.
It'll be in the video. It's fine.
This will be the second time this will be in the video. This was.
Oh yeah, we did mention it in the Red Hood video. Yeah, check out our Red Hood video. It's linked right here. Actually, it's right here. Yeah, Ty's not laughing because I took a second take. He's laughing at something else.
Yeah.
I think
that's a. I hate you so much.
I'm really sweaty. This was a bad idea, honestly. Like, I thought it would be a good bit, like, but I regret this.
I wish you would have told me.
No,
we could have doubled up the bit. We could have really played it up. I have a nice suit.
Oh, so for those of you at home, I purposefully didn't tell Ty about me wearing a suit because I didn't want him.
He makes me look like a jackass.
Like he didn't want to dress
up. He didn't even tell me we were filming today.
Oh, I'm gonna put a picture of our text thread where Ty tells me, "No, I'm not wearing a suit."
Yeah, he'll make that up. You won't do that because you don't want people to see that my name in your phone is Sweet Honey Darling.
It's Bay with a heart. So yeah. Anyways, back on track with the history of the Sony Marvel situation. So yeah, the email hack happened. And due to fan outcry, because it was revealed in the emails that Sony was considering putting Spider-Man in the MCU, and then talks kind of fizzled out because Sony and Marvel couldn't agree on like how they were going to get paid for that. And then because they disagreed to that, fan outcry kind of came out, and they're like, "No, we want Spider-Man. Like, put him in the MCU, especially Civil War, because you and I both know that he's
a central part.
Yeah,
and his part even in this like the MCU Civil War is like extremely diminished.
And I think they set him up great. Like Civil War was a great kind of like backdoor pilot for him, to lead off into his next series of movies.
It was really nice to not have to watch his origin again.
Yeah, thank goodness.
That was and for it to still it's proof that it still works. Right? You can introduce a character that's long running and has that history without doing a ridiculous origin movie every time, because they just threw him right in. He's already a year into being Spider-Man at this point, and it just works. You just believe it.
And it's like with heroes like Spider-Man, like they're so black and white in the sense that like their sense of morality is always going to be good. So it's like why he does it really isn't important.
Right.
Like he's a hero because he's a hero. Like that's really kind of all you need to know.
How many times do I need to see Uncle Ben die?
And you know, with the Tom Holland movies, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but they kind of doubled back to his great power comes great responsibility thing in No Way Home. Spoilers, when Aunt May
but later,
dies.
And it still works, I think.
Yeah, they changed it up enough, and it worked within the confines of the story to be interesting and motivating for that character.
Yeah, they just moved it further down the hero's journey. Instead of it being his motivation to start, it's his motivation to keep going. Yeah. And like that, it works for me. It works for me in every way. Think, that scene is so good. It's a
great scene. Yeah.
I recently rewatched it, actually, the movie, and I think about that one scene where it's raining and he's up on top of the school and like that rain's going down. It's got like that purple lighting. Man, that shot is so good.
They because of the negative outcry from fans about Spider-Man not being in the MCU, Sony and Disney kind of agreed to a partnership to include Spider-Man in 5 movies. So Civil War, Homecoming, Infinity War, Endgame, Far From Home.
Okay.
And then once Far From Home came out, there was that whole hubbub about Spider-Man no longer being in the MCU.
Right, but it made $1 billion, so.
Right. So clearly the fans and the money show otherwise, but the reason Sony wanted to pull out of this is because I think Disney was taking too much money from their production. I think they were taking, or they wanted like 50% or something like that. I'll put the real total in the video, but yeah, Disney was taking too much money, and Sony wanted to renegotiate the deal. So they basically threatened to remove Tom Holland's Spider-Man from the MCU, and they reconciled, and Tom Holland called Bob Iger and cried over the phone or whatever, and they managed to figure it all out. Yeah. What a legend. Oh, Mr. Iger, please, don't put Spider-Man in the Sonyverse. Don't do it.
I don't feel so good, Marvel.
Sony and Disney, they worked it out, and Holland came back for Spider-Man No Way Home, which we just mentioned here. And throughout this deal, Sony was basically, because they still owned the rights to Spider-Man, his supporting characters, and his Rogues Gallery, they were allowed to make their own Spider-Man movies. So in turn, we got Venom, and then later on we would get, Morbius, Madam Web, Venom sequels, Kraven, all that junk. And right. That's also how I feel about it. So a new deal was struck where Sony could continue to use Spider-Man villains and characters in their own stuff, and Disney could continue to use Spider-Man in their mainline movies. And it was recently revealed, actually, after the release of Kraven, that Sony was never restricted from using Spider-Man in their Sony Universe and Marvel Characters movies. They just didn't. Yeah. And they could have used any version of Spider-Man. So we could have seen a live-action Miles Morales turn up. We could have seen Ben Reilly turn up.
I was thinking about that on my way over here. I was like, it would have been really sick if Sony had just been like, oh, here's Ben Reilly.
Or you could just say it's Peter Parker and just have another one. Like
Peter B. Parker.
Yeah. Or there's going to be 2 Batmans in a few years when they cast for Brave and the Bold, and we're also going to have Robert Pattinson playing the character. Mm-hmm. At one point there was 2 Jokers. Like we had Jared Leto playing the character, and we also had Joaquin Phoenix playing the character. So it's not like people won't get it. Like they're not going to be like, what? I thought Jared Leto was the Joker. Why is Joaquin Phoenix doing it now?
Well, you sit here and you say it's not like people don't get it, but I've literally had conversations with my mother where she does not get it.
She's like, why is Joaquin Phoenix the Joker?
Yeah, so actually you're wrong. People don't get it.
I guess so.
And that's the problem.
Yeah, for me and for you, I guess, like we're so connected to this stuff that like we understand outside of a cinema level. It's not everybody's
passion,
Right. But it's my passion.
Yeah. Among other things.
Yes. This new deal also would allow any characters that were used in, for instance, like the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, which were MCU, they would also be able to use characters that they developed in those movies. So that's how we got like Michael Keaton turning up in Morbius. The light just went off, everybody. Don't worry about it. I don't think you're going to be able to notice. If anything, it's just more moody.
Yeah.
The vibes kind of changed a little bit. This is flicking the frame after dark. That's what we're doing now.
Pop the top button.
Flicking the frame vice. Yeah, let's just take this off. Let's just unbutton a little bit.
Now we're in it. Okay. Now we're in it, baby.
What do you think? Tasteful?
Yes.
Can you see it? People at home?
Well, the mic's like right.
Yeah, let me just.
Yeah, there you go. That's very nice.
Yeah, Kayla's giving the thumbs up, so I think we're good. Yeah. All right. As I said, Sony was able to use their characters in other films. We got Vulture turning up in Morbius, and So also Sony. I found this really funny. So this was in a Variety article where a Sony insider or somebody close to Sony executives was talking about the Sony Marvel deal, and Sony came out after the release of Kraven. And when they announced that they were kind of putting a halt to their universe of Marvel characters, and they said, "Oh, we actually never said we were building a cinematic universe."
Okay.
And the reason they said this is, I have the quote here, is because they lowercased like how they presented the phrasing. So like if you look at it, it's like Sony, capital S, universe, lowercase u.
Yeah, like it's just movies that we're doing. They're not all connected. It's just movies we're doing.
I just love that justification, being like, yeah, we never capitalized the U. So
yeah, my favorite little factoid about it is that they basically made all these movies out of spite. Because
yes and no.
If they didn't make those movies, they would lose those rights and they default back to Marvel. So it's like they just churned out these junk movies because they had to.
Yep.
And then I feel like that's a big part of why most of them turn out trash, is because they weren't making it because they felt the desire to make a great project. They were making it so they could keep that cash cow.
Right.
And keep not extorting necessarily, but essentially extorting Disney out of half the profits.
You're not wrong. And cash cow, it might have been. So now I want to talk about the box office versus the budget.
I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah. The box office versus the budget of these Sony Universal Marvel characters movies. So we've come up with a little game. It's a very small game. It's not.
It's the most intensive game we've ever played.
It's like Squid Game level game. Kayla has a gun right now aimed at Ty. I'm gonna put a little red dot right on your forehead.
God, I can't wait to get a wrong answer.
So we're gonna go ahead movie to movie, and I want Ty to give me his predicted budget and his predicted box office for these movies. Now keep in mind, Ty doesn't really keep up with this sort of stuff. He just watches the movies and enjoys them on whatever level he enjoys them on. Yeah. He's not into the numbers. Okay, he's into the emotions. Right. So Ty, I want you to give me the budget, your budget for Venom 2018.
Venom 2018.
Yep.
I'm gonna go. Give me 110.
100 to 116 million. So right there in that ballpark.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm feeling good.
Now keep in mind, I'm not asking you to do this, but essentially the kind of rule of thumb is you need to double the budget for marketing. So and theater distribution. Right. Because theaters take a cut. They spend about.
I ain't doing all that.
Yeah. No,
I'm telling how much the
initial budget. Yeah.
I want how much the movie
But
costs.
keep in mind for those at home that typically it's budget times 2 for marketing and theater distribution.
Right.
So go ahead and give me the predicted box office.
I think Venom made its money back.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and say Venom 225.
225 million.
I think it made its money back.
That lowballed. Kayla, get the gun.
Lowballed.
Yeah, get the gun. Venom actually made $856 million at the box office. It was a smash hit. Crazy.
Okay, so I was right. Venom's good.
Well, it's good commercially, yes.
Commercially, wow. I knew it made its money back, but I thought barely. I thought it scraped.
No, it nearly hit $1 billion.
God, this is gonna skew every guess I have after this. Oh no.
Where are you at with Venom? I know you like Venom, but you have any particular moments that stand out to you?
In Venom, in particular, I love the first transformation you get.
Okay.
Particularly, and also the first time you meet Mrs. Chen as Venom. I think that's really great. I think it's funny. It's funny. Also, despite the fact that the end fight is just a classic CGI beat 'em up between similar villains, I like I like seeing the symbiote powers like on display.
Okay.
And that was a good way to see two symbiotes just kind of going balls to the wall. And so I think for what that fight is, it's good. I like it.
Yeah. For me, the scene where he gets in the lobster tank.
Yeah, because he's really hot. That's pretty good. You're right. That is really funny.
I also I commented on this the other day when we were watching Venom 3. I think like Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock, I don't like, but
Tom Hardy.
I do like Tom Hardy and his like sporadic
Tom
movements that he's doing.
Yeah, his like, the physical comedy in all three Venom movies is great.
Those are the parts of the movies that I find the most enjoyable is the effort Tom Hardy puts into it.
Right, he's really diving all in.
I also like Sexy Lady Venom.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
When Michelle Williams puts on the symbiote.
Is that Venom 1 or Venom 2?
It's Venom 1. She might do it in all. I think there's a Sexy Lady Venom in all three of them, actually. Because there was definitely one in 3, and there's definitely one in 1, but I don't know about 2. I don't remember.
God, these movies suck.
Yeah. I also love the Cletus Cassidy reveal at the end. Yeah. And he looks like Sideshow Bob. Like he pulls up with the worst wig I've ever seen.
It's pretty not good.
In my entire life. Like, not good. I audibly laughed out loud.
Like, I tell you what, though, I like Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy.
I think he's a good pick. Yeah. I mean, if you were going to get anybody.
I think the wig is atrocious, truly atrocious.
They fix it in the next one.
Yeah, but I think Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy works.
Yeah. Speaking of carnage, let there be carnage.
Let's there be carnage. Yeah.
What do you think was the budget on let's there be carnage?
Okay, so the first Venom movie killed. So they're upping the budget for the second one. There's more symbiotes. Right. There's more things. 175.
You highballed it actually. They kept it at about 110.
Really?
Yeah.
Impressive.
So they kept the same budget. They were hoping for a similar, if not maybe slightly lower return. Typically, your sequels don't do as well as the initial one, depending on the quality of the sequel.
As my guess will show. I believe.
What do you think you're at for box office?
See, now that I know that I extremely undershot Venom 1, I'm gonna upsell, but I think it still made less than the first one. It had to have.
Right,
I'm gonna go 600,000.
600,000?
600 million.
Okay, I was like, whoa, you really lowballed it.
Yeah. 600 million.
You were a little bit high. It was 506 million.
Okay, I'll take that.
So definitely not as big as the first one, but also I think like the reviews were worse.
Yeah, well, it was the worst movie. So
well, for me, I actually find Venom 2 more enjoyable.
You're crazy.
And I think that's because I think it's a technically like visually a better movie.
It's prettier.
Like Andy Serkis, I think is a better director than Ruben Fleischer.
Yeah,
and I also think that like because in the first Venom movie, Venom fought Riot. Venom is a black symbiote, Riot is a silver symbiote. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to tell them apart, but with Carnage, it's like he's red. Like you can tell the difference.
But the second one is boring
in parts,
all the way up until the final fight.
And the performances are worse too.
Granted, the final fight is sick.
I like it. Yeah, I mean that was one of my favorite.
The way
moments,
that they use Carnage's specific symbiote abilities really works. Like his tendrils. Yeah,
I like the Carnage design. I think they nailed the design on Carnage.
They really did.
Yeah. Overall, Venom 2, I still don't like it, but me personally, I do think it's an improvement over the first Venom, which I did not like.
Crazy take. Yeah. But, we're each entitled to our opinions, no matter how wrong they might be.
I know you got opinions on this next one. Where are you thinking Morbius falls on the budget?
Okay, before I even talk about budget.
Okay.
My favorite thing about Morbius, right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I love that the community, like as a whole, like the internet, bullied Sony into releasing, like thinking that Morbius was like a sleeper hit, and so they spent all of that money to re-release it, and it has to be one of the only movies in history to flop in theaters twice. 2 times it flopped in theaters. That's great. So my answer: Morbius, budget $75 million.
You were right on the money, actually.
I'm so good.
It was predicted, or it's estimated 75 to 85 million on the Morbius budget. Where do you think you're at on box office with Morbius? Keep in mind, it was released twice, so
it was released. Are we doing total or like total release? Yeah. Okay, so
that's how it works.
The second one, I know it made like next to nothing, which is impressive. I think it barely made its money back, if that. Definitely not after marketing. I'm gonna say box office. 215.
176.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man,
or 167.
What was I thinking with my first Venom guess? Like, I think I was, I was just nervous. You had just like,
you were shaking.
You had just like taken out the tie and like opened up your chest a little bit.
Was getting
and
hot
like
and bothered.
Kind of.
I thought I was sweaty.
it freaked me out a little. Now we're on the money, though. Now we're on the money.
You know what's funny, though, is Morbius, if you count in marketing being released twice and theater distribution, it should have made nothing, but Sony claims Morbius made money.
No shot. How?
I don't really care for Morbius.
It's horrendous.
I thought it was very generic, very boring. I do like Matt Smith in the movie. I think he's
Who doesn't love Matt Smith?
Well, he's hamming it up, and he's clearly like he knows the material's bad. Like I think he was in an interview around the time of Morbius's release, and somebody asked him, he's like, "What do you think is your character's motivation?" And he was like, "I don't know." He's like, there were some words on the page, and I said them, but I didn't really look into it that much.
I just got the payday, man.
Yeah. But he's fun in the movie. I also like how Morbius, his flying effect, looks like he's like a plastic grocery bag, like floating in the wind.
Yeah, it's real terrible. Although, you know what? Great memes.
Yeah.
From that movie.
Honestly,
Morbin time is
so
huge.
much enjoyment.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff came out of that.
I have milked that joke for years now. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, it's taken on a life of its own. Where are we at with Madam Web? What are you thinking on the budget of Madam Web?
Madam Web couldn't have had a very big budget, but I know it had a ton of reshoots.
Actually didn't have that many reshoots.
Really?
They actually cut a lot of pages out of Madam Web before it even started
So
shooting.
what am I thinking of? Maybe not I'm thinking of like the ADR and stuff. So it's like a bunch of stuff where they had...
They definitely re-edited it several times. Yeah.
So I think it had a lot of back end stuff, but there's nothing like visually spectacular in that movie, like at all. I think you probably get away with 65 million on that, something like that.
80 to 100.
80 to 100. So I'm a little under.
Yeah. What are you thinking for box office?
That movie didn't make shit.
No. But what's your number?
125.
100.5 million.
Yeah.
So
just garbage.
Not a big return on investment. If anything, lost money.
We definitely lost money.
Yeah.
Once you factor in like marketing and everything.
Yeah, right. I don't have a favorite moment.
I have
Madam
nothing
Web.
to say.
I don't like that movie. I think it's funny because of how bad it is, but there's nothing in particular that's memorable for me that like, because I was putting together my list and I was like, yeah, I can't think of anything that I like.
My whole drive over here.
I don't like anything.
My whole drive over here, I was thinking, I was like, all right, what am I going to say about Madam Web? And I was like, Sydney Sweeney.
She's not even good at it.
Well, no, she's not, but she's Sydney Sweeney. So like, there's that. But like, outside of that, okay, it's funny. It's funny to laugh at.
Kayla's given the
yeah,
thumbs
she was
up
a big
for
fan of Sydney Sweeney, apparently. That's for the girlies.
No good.
No. The ADR is funny, though. I'll give that.
The villain's ADR specifically. I don't know that guy who spoke English, or he didn't speak it very well.
I think that's what happened. He does not. I think they probably filmed the whole thing, and they were like, "Oh,
I can't understand.
He's got a pretty severe accent, and we did not account for it. No. So we're gonna ADR with like the worst thing you've ever heard. It's so jarring."
Where are we at with Venom 3? What are you thinking budget wise?
Venom 3, there was a lot. There was a lot of symbiotes in Venom 3.
A lot of CGI. A lot more CGI than previous two.
A lot of CGI.
Not very good looking CGI. But.
Some of it was good. Some of it not good.
Oh.
Some of it was fine. You're a hater.
I am.
The Xenophage looked awesome.
I guess.
185.
110.
No, how are they doing that?
110 to 120. So this one, it's estimated that it had a slightly higher budget than the previous two, but pretty much all the Venom movies were made for the same amount of money.
What do you think they sacrificed in
people who were good at their jobs.
Oh,
yeah. They just hired like people off the street.
Of course.
There's like people hanging out outside like the Jimmy Fallon set. They were like, "Do you want to make this movie?"
But they had the lizard in it.
Oh, Reese Evans, yeah. He was playing that hippie guy. I do like that moment where in Venom 3, where Eddie's like running from the Xenophage out of that facility, and
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And he's Reese Evans. He's up in that tower, and he sees Eddie. He goes, "Eddie," and like Eddie like seemingly doesn't recognize him. He's like, Martin, it's me.
No, I like later on when he like returns like triumphantly to like shoot the xenophage with the
he has that rocket launcher,
because he's trying to save Eddie.
Yeah.
And then he just leaves. Like he doesn't check on Eddie who's like on the ground.
He's like, I gotta get out of here.
He's like, all right, I shot him. So like, what more can I do? And he just books it. Yeah. It makes me think that the scene where they spoke after that got cut or something.
Where are you at with box office for Venom 3?
I think it did fine.
Just wrapped up its box office run too.
Just wrapped off its run. So what say the first one did 800. The last one did 500. I'll probably put this one around like 550. I'll do like a 550 mark.
475.
It did even worse than the second one. Wow.
Yeah. So it was a progressive decline, but for Venom 3, I think it's still the 10th highest grossing movie of 2024. Like it's still like turned a profit.
What's the highest grossing movie of this year?
I think as of right now, Inside Out 2, followed by Deadpool and Wolverine, and then Dune 2.
That tracks.
Dune.
That tracks.
Yes.
I think that's probably an order of quality too.
Paul Atreides. I haven't seen Inside Out 2.
Paul Moadib Atreides.
You know, I didn't like Venom 3 at all. It was definitely the worst of the bunch. I did like Venom Horse.
Venom 3 is better than 2.
Disagree. I did like Venom Horse. I did like Venom Fish. And I did like Venom Frog.
Venom Frog. All the Venom animals at the end. The end credit scene was really
good. The end credits. I was like, this is fun.
The CGI in the end credits looked better than the CGI.
It was actually not bad. Yeah. I don't know if it was because the entire thing was computer generated or
Venom
what.
Bird was also good.
What?
Venom Bird. Also in the end credits. There was a Venom Bird, man.
Oh.
You missed that. You saw Venom Frog, but not Venom Bird.
I remember Venom Octopus.
Venom Puss. That's true.
Venom Puss.
Octo?
Oh, there's also a moment in Venom 3 where Eddie and Venom, they're like in the river and like he ejects from the river. Like Venom grabs him and ejects him from the river and he has like a mermaid's tail for like a half second.
You know what my favorite scene from that whole movie was? And we talked about this. It's the scene where they're up in Mrs. Chen's penthouse and they're dancing and it like
the dancing
it
scene.
like oddly like worked in like every way
that was
for
great.
me. It was super fun to watch.
It didn't make sense narratively.
No,
but
zero narrative sense.
I loved it just seeing it.
But I think that's kind of what those movies have become. And there wasn't Venom 3 didn't really have a narrative.
No, but it wasn't self-aware enough for me to like find it extremely enjoyable in terms of like
Venom 3 just happened. Things just happened. There wasn't a reason that anything happened.
He's like, let's go to New York, and he's like gets there at the very end and they play Maroon 5 and he has that montage.
Yeah. The montage that had things that were in the movie we just watched.
Yeah, right. It's like you remember 45 minutes ago?
It wasn't even like a montage of just things from Venom 1 and 2. No. Like they were included bits from the movie.
Yeah. I also find it funny that so Venom 1 came out in 2018, Venom 3 came out this year, 2024, and at one point Venom or Eddie mentions that they've only been bonded for about a year, like less than a year.
So it's been a rough year for that guy.
Yeah, Tom Hardy has like visibly aged nearly a decade.
He's put on like 15, 20 pounds.
Yeah, like it is like his beard is graying. Like he definitely does not look the same from the start
I guess
of
that
Venom
would probably
1.
he's had a pretty in universe. Eddie Brock's had a bad year though. He's had a bad time.
Yeah.
He's gone between realities.
Lost his
girlfriend. You know, he almost got murdered like twice. He accidentally committed a murder, but not really.
Not really. Yeah.
It's been a bad time for Eddie Brock.
He saw Woody Harrelson in that wig.
He saw Woody Harrelson. Which did he?
Yeah. He went to go visit him at the end.
You're right. He did.
Okay. Last movie in the Sony universe of Marvel characters, Kraven. Where are we thinking?
My favorite.
Where are we thinking budget?
I'm gonna put it right around the same ballpark. I'm gonna do like 120. Yeah.
It was 110 to 130. I would estimate on the higher end because this movie got pushed back 3 times, and all that stuff with the Rhino, I'm pretty sure was reshot. Like they added all of that after the fact. Like I'm pretty sure the original ending did not include the Rhino at all. And then they watched like a cut of the movie and they were like, oh, there's
no villain.
This is more nothing than we usually put out. Like this isn't anything. They went back for reshoots on Kraven. So I think it did bump up the budget a bit. It is definitely the highest budgeted of this bunch. Where are we at with box office? Now keep in mind, Kraven at time of recording did only come out a couple weeks ago.
Right, so it's not quite done.
So it hasn't finished its box office run, but as of right now,
it's negative right now.
Well, I mean, just it's not technically negative, but it's like how much money has it made?
Right. Shit, man, like 135, 150 maybe.
It's at 42.8 million right now.
Wow.
Yeah, so you're thinking though
It's final. I'm thinking its final is going to be like 150.
150. I think that's highballing it. I would be
still feels like a highball. Yeah, I thought that wasn't.
I'd be surprised if it cracks 100. Like because
that's bad.
Well, it had a lower opening weekend than Madam Web. And Madam Web only did 100.
It wasn't only its opening weekend only like 12 million or something.
Craven was 11, I think.
That's so bad.
Yeah,
so bad.
The only hope I think Craven has for its box office run is that it was released during Christmas season, so people are off, like they're off of school, like they're getting time off work. You know, a lot of people go see movies during Christmas, so it is possible.
What kind of punishment is it to have to go see Craven on your?
Hey kids, get in the van. We're going to see Craven. But Dad, I don't want to see Craven.
I hear Aaron Taylor Johnson shirtless for at least 30% of the movie.
You know, that's the part of the movie that we went to go see the movie with some friends, and we with my girlfriend and another female was there. And at the end of the movie, I was like, "What'd you think?" And they were like,
"Another female."
Yes.
Ew.
Okay, another non-male person was there. How about that? Somebody. You know what? Yeah.
I'm going to need an apology.
We're sorry.
We?
Ty's involved in this too. Anyways, moving on. So the combined budget for all of these movies, it's estimated about $615 million. But double that for marketing and theater distribution, you're looking at about $1.2 billion to push these movies out.
Chump change.
Yeah. Where do you think our total box office is at? Okay. With all these in mind, where are you at? Don't do the math. Just
you're
give
only
it a
asking
guess.
this because you know I already forgot how much we made.
Okay.
I'm ballparking. How many movies is it? 5 movies?
Venom 2.
Venom 3,
Morbius,
Madam Web, like 6 movies. Right. I'm gonna say they average about 100. I'm gonna say they are lucky if they scrape away 600 million.
What are you talking about?
No, I forgot about I forgot about the Venom movies.
We just did this.
I forgot about the Venom movies.
Venom makes up. I'll tell you this.
Venom's got 855.
I'll tell you this. Venom makes up.
That's
about
1.8.
It makes about $1.8 billion.
Right. So you get 1.8, and then the rest are barely able to get 600.
Yeah.
So total, I'm gonna do 2.25 billion.
It was 2.14.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ignore my first bit of math. God, it's Ryan. He took off the jacket. I didn't even see when he did that. Like,
and Kayla's got a gun on him. Ty's just dealing with a lot right now.
It's just, man, it's hard out here.
Yeah. Any moments from Craven that stand out for you?
Oh, actually, a ton.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to share those with us?
Despite Craven probably being like next to Madam Web being the worst.
I would say Madam Web's the worst.
Yeah, but like close to being the worst. I think it has some of the funniest moments. Mm-hmm. We talked about it briefly earlier, but Russell Crowe, he could do anything. Moment. He's like a chameleon. Yeah. Like it's just truly awful and hilarious.
Yeah.
Highlights. I thought that the chameleon's design, like when he actually, like at the end of the movie, he flicks to the
when you see his chameleon
costume.
Face, yeah.
It's really good.
Not bad, but
Aaron Taylor Smolson? Are you kidding?
Was so funny.
I laugh about that scene once a day. I think about it.
He was so little.
It was just Aaron Taylor Johnson's superimposed face on that little actor. I made the same joke, but it's like if we put your face on my head and we made no changes, like that is like the kind of shock it was to see that on screen. And we laughed, and nobody else in the theater laughed. No one thought that was funny.
I thought it was hilarious.
That was so funny.
I liked the opening scene of Craven, like where he's breaking out of the prison and he's killing that guy.
It was pretty good.
It wasn't bad. I'm like, this is a decent setup, and like his Russian accent was way better than whatever like cowboy shit he was trying to do later on. Like his regular accent is so all over the place. Like it wasn't consistent. Like it just
I don't know.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, I'll say it, he's not good in that movie. And I think he's a good actor. Like I've liked him a lot in stuff. Like Bullet Train, he's excellent in that movie.
Yeah. I was like, he's really been great in particularly anything.
Well,
but
I mean,
Bullet Train's
he's
good.
fine usually.
He's
but
fine
I
and
think
kick-ass.
I think he's superb in Bullet Train. Like I think that's like him
Really?
at the top of his game.
Maybe I'll have to rewatch Bullet Train.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also like the scene where It's a little craven. I like
Yeah,
I like
Aaron
that. I like
Taylor
that a lot.
Smallson is so good.
I like that a lot.
I fucking love that. That scene makes me giggle like a little girl. I fucking love that. That scene makes me giggle like a little girl.
So it turns out that these Sony movies, they made money. Like they pocketed.
they didn't.
They probably pocketed around like
Fake news.
lower estimate like $700 million from
Wrong.
these extremely low effort projects they were putting out. And this wasn't even the full extent of everything they wanted to do. They also announced an El Muerto movie, which
El Muerto
with Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
They announced a Hypno Hustler movie
Insane.
with Childish Gambino, Donald Glover. They were going to do a Silver Sable Black Cat movie at one point. There was also plans
Sign me up for that one, though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, go ahead and make that one, Sony.
There was also plans to do Jackpot, Night Watch, and a Silk TV show. But none of these ever came to fruition.
Be against the Silk TV show.
Well, I think one, like, this is some bottom of the barrel shit. Like, this is like, you are really reaching here if you're trying to make this garbage as like a feature film or a TV show. Mm-hmm. Silk, I guess, is the one that would get across the line, but that one's not a Spider-Man villain being put front and center.
Silk is tough for like movies and TV shows and even games to do because like Silk is out of pocket. So like for people who don't know, Silk is a character from the Spider-Man comics that got bit by the same spider that Peter Parker got bit by. So their pheromones are like laced, and basically anytime they're around each other, they're fucking. Yeah. They're fucking constantly. Like they cannot be in the same room without fucking. And that's canon. That is what's happening in the comics.
I'll put a picture of it in the video.
So it's like I don't understand how they're gonna like because I mean even the new Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 2 at the end they introduce Cindy Moon who is Silk, so it's like is it gonna be like her and Miles in that universe, like her and Miles gonna be like fucking all over New York? Like I don't know, man.
Playable character, you think?
Actually
I would like
that'd be tough.
Yeah, that'd be
and
cool.
Her suit is so sick.
I like it. It's good design. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with the Sony movies in terms of like their overall reception is while critically they were panned, commercially, they turned a profit. Like, you can't argue with the money Sony was making, specifically from the Venom movies. And
not like we're not going to take away from that. We're not going to act like, oh, they did good. Oh, but it was the Venom. No, it was the Venom movies.
Yeah.
The Venom movies alone are, what would you say, 1.8 billion. Yeah. That's all of it. Yeah. That's all of it.
Hard to argue with those results, though. It's just like if you get lucky one more time, like if Morbius actually made money, it's like who knows where we'd be at right now. Right. You know, we might have actually gotten that El Muerto movie with Bad Bunny.
What do you think Bad Bunny's up to nowadays?
He's singing or rapping or
being the most handsome man on the planet.
You think he's handsome?
No.
Okay.
I just know people really like him.
Yeah, he's got that Latin flair. People respond really well to.
We used to work with someone who was a big fan of Bad Bunny.
Ooh. I'll cut that out.
Yeah, cut that name. Yeah. Big Bad Bunny fan.
Anyways, so I thought we could do some fun letterboxd reviews that I dug up on the Sony universe of Marvel characters movies. I have some here. We'll go through kind of each one individually. Here's some reviews for Venom.
How's your sweat level doing? You feeling pretty good?
I'm not smelling bad, but like I'm still hot. Like these lights.
It's honestly like hot. Even the reason I ask is because like now I'm starting to
get a little sweaty.
I'm getting a little.
I thought it was because I'm revealing more and more.
Well, no, that's why I'm stuttering.
Oh, okay. That's a different reason.
Yeah, my nervousness doesn't result in the physical stimuli. You know, it's more mental. But yeah, no,
I think my body temperature is higher when I'm around you. You know?
Yeah, that's what
just more primal when I'm near you.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
I'm like Craven.
Chemical reactions going on, 100%. Like Craven, you're Craven, and I'm Craven.
I'm Craven Ty. Here we go. We got some letterboxd reviews for Venom 2018. This is from Patrick Willems, popular YouTuber. The number 3 superhero movie of 2003.
Of 2003?
Yeah, implying that
Oh, okay. I was running through like superhero movies that came out in 2003. I'm like,
no, it's a review for Venom. It's a review for Venom 1. This is also for Venom 1 from Cam943. Had a pretty good date with my current GF to this movie.
Okay.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. Do you think they're still together?
It was 5 stars. Maybe. If our first date was Venom, I wouldn't be with you anymore. I would end it.
We had a much better first date movie.
Yeah. We did. It was Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. Yeah.
Actually, one thing I found out by digging through all these Letterboxd reviews, specifically for Venom, Venom is like it carries a pride flag, dude. Like the LGBTQIA plus community goes out for Venom.
Yeah,
dude.
man.
I'm gonna get into it here.
Venom is canonically pansexual.
Here's 5 stars from Amber. I want that symbiote in a carnal fashion.
No, I get that.
Yeah. 4 stars from Iris. This is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. I love it so much.
I also get that.
Yeah. And a 1-star review from Wes. When my film class tells me to, quote, analyze every shot of a movie like it's a book, since everything has a meaning and a purpose behind it artistically and intellectually. What was the artistic and intellectual purpose behind giving Venom anime titties in that one scene again?
I've never liked anything anyone named Wes has said ever.
Yeah, so, fuck you, Wes.
Yeah, no matter what the content of that review was, I disagree with it.
And here's 5 stars from Ann 4V's. Yeah.
And 4D's nuts. Yeah.
Me and my kitty emoji after watching kitty emoji doing a kissy face watching this movie. Mao, we are horny.
Yeah, that tracks.
So a lot of people are very horny for Venom, it turns out.
I get that. He's a
big guy.
He's big. He's tall.
Plow you in bed for sure.
Whoa.
Yeah, a lot of people coming out for Venom for
I feel like Venom would be a sub, like in a weird way. Like, because he's all like gooey and he can mold to like whatever like you want him to be. So like,
put those tendrils wherever you want.
I feel like you could really like dominate Venom in a bedroom.
Here we go. We got some reviews for Venom 2. This is a 1/2-star review for.
You can do that.
1/2-star from Henry. Imagine having the most psycho killer in Marvel Comics just to show him not killing anyone and making it PG-13.
He eats like 3 heads in that movie.
Yeah, but I think the PG-13 rating does definitely restrict what Carnage can do in that movie.
Yeah. Okay, but you're lame.
Here's 3 stars from Nicole. More homosexual undertones than The Lighthouse. You think I'm kidding, but I'm not.
First of all, The Lighthouse has no homosexual undertones.
Nicole seems to think otherwise.
They're overt.
Her avatar is also a furry, I think. So she's got another agenda. Here's 1.5 stars from Satori Ayano. This movie is stupid but not fun, boring, and has little redeeming qualities. Venom and Brock's interactions and partnership were the only interesting things I took out of this. But hey, can just turn your brain off and watch.
I don't think people understand how rating systems work. Or maybe I'm the person who doesn't understand. Because in a world where you can look at a movie like Venom and say it's a 1/2 star or a 1.5 star, I'm like, you're insane.
Yeah, there's worse movies.
There are way worse movies.
Like, just in terms of the production value and like everything, like it's worth at least a couple stars on its own.
It's a 3 at minimum. A movie you just have to be able to make it through a movie without wanting to kill yourself for it to be a 2.5. Just for it to reach the halfway point. Anything below that has to be miserable. You're right. You will have to cut out kill yourself. Let me try again.
Nah, let's roll with it.
Roll with it. Put it in there twice.
All right.
Kill yourself.
Here's 4.5 stars from Kalak8215. This is the gayest thing I've ever seen, lol. And they have no right being so damn fun. I can easily see this becoming a comfort movie, lol. Venom and Eddie's dynamic is just ... chef's kiss.
The gayest thing they've ever seen?
I'm telling you, man, the gay community loves Venom.
I'm just wondering about like the gayest thing.
There's also that scene where him and Eddie break up and Venom goes to that rave. Like, I think he's at like a gay club too.
That's true.
Like and at one point Venom says in the movie, "I'm out of the Eddie closet."
That's pretty good. Okay. So okay. Yeah. Okay.
This is 2 stars from Umgar. Unexciting action sequences, blunt cutaways from every parentheses comic book style shot of gruesomeness / bloody actions that are somehow completely bloodless. Uninspired CGI, lots of carnage roaring like a movie dinosaur, nonsensical character decisions, and other goofy shit. I'm not sure that leaving the gore intact would have made this any better, but at least it would have felt so very obviously, it wouldn't have felt so watered down.
What star rating did he give it?
2.
That's a perfect rating.
I think so.
I think that is the best rating so far because everything he said was right and he gave it an appropriate rating. I would have given it probably a 2.5, but it's good.
And here's 5 stars from Comrade_Yui. Venom literally said gay rights. They have They gave every single worst line in the script to Michelle Williams, and she carried that shit like a champ. Robert Richardson photographed the crap out of this as well when he definitely didn't need to. Absolutely dumb as hell. I loved every second of it. Reminds you that cape shit doesn't have to be totally irredeemable self. Important garbage. There's hope for cinema yet. Give me 100 more screwball comedies with the big stupid queer slime creatures.
Okay, at first I was like, I had like rage for a second because I was like, is one of his points of why he dislikes this movie that Venom believes in gay rights? But then he brought it back. He brought it back. I was like, damn, okay.
We're moving on to Morbius reviews here. We got a 1.5 star review for Morbius from KJ. First date idea. Take her to see Morbius. Tell her the theater's empty because you rented it out.
Genius. But it kind of backfires once you like have to watch Morbius.
Yeah, you do have to watch Morbius. You're doing it, by the way.
Huh?
You're doing it, by the way.
Oh, that's a counter.
It's probably more. I haven't been paying it.
No. I'll tell you straight up. I've done it a few times.
It's hot.
I know. I know.
Here's 3 stars from Kylo. Pretty stupid and filled with plot holes. However, I was still entertained. Plenty of mindless action backed up with great special effects. It's no Venom, but I didn't hate it.
Fucking, you're stupid and filled with plot holes.
Here's 1 star.
Even though I kind of agree with everything you said. Yeah.
Here's 1 star from Colin. ... Morbius is Venom, but without any of that camp that made Venom bearable.
I don't think Morbius was anything like Venom, other than that they had the same production company.
It's very boring.
It hasn't. They have bad CGI.
Here's 5 stars from Puff.
5 is crazy.
I know Morbius better than most people. In fact, I am Morbius. Oh. Some days.
Here we go.
I am unsure whether I am a vampire or a human. Mm-hmm. The film Twilight, that's starring me. Mm-hmm. Ever since Morbius first debuted in 1971, I felt born again. I'm a true morbalizer, and as such, I must admit that Matt Smith is hot. This shall redefine cinema itself, and the morbalization is upon us, my brethren. Mm-hmm. We need to all become morbalizers, and we will not stop until Morbius is acclaimed as the greatest motion picture of all time.
I'm with you. What if we released it a 3rd time?
We should. Sony, this is your chance.
This is your chance.
Don't give up.
I promise I'll go this time.
Here we got 1 star from Damon. This fucked me up more than the edible from last night. One of the toughest theater experiences ever. I cried, yawned, and died inside. As it went to the next scene, I forgot about the previous one, and now I don't remember this movie. It also tries to be Batman from the score, bats, how the characters look, etc. There are other references to horror movies that I didn't care about, and yeah, this feels like it should have been released in the late 90s, 2000s, before comic book movies took off. This shit makes Ghost Rider 2007 look like a 10. That scene with Matt Smith before he hit the club was cringe and one of the worst Marvel villains in GL.
I like
the acting is Sad Tyrese couldn't carry this one, and the CGI sucks. Same goes for the 2 post-credit scenes. Only redeeming quality is I watched and experienced this pain with the homies. Gotta be the worst April Fool's joke too. Lamau.
I liked Ghost Rider 2007.
I like that one too. It's not bad.
It's pretty good.
Here's 3.5 stars from Bert. I'm a sucker for a vampire flick. Whilst this is a different to the usual vamp shtick.
It's not a vampire flick.
I opt for I did still enjoy it and had a fun time watching it. These comic book things that stem from Marvel or DC really lack an element of cool. That's what's missing from this, I reckon. I actually think the plot line is pretty good. Morbius is a good character. But because this is a comic book thing and catering to the film fans that enjoy superhero movies, it's a touch limited with what it can do with the story and character.
It's limited because Morbius is not a cool character.
If it stopped trying so hard to please Marvel fans and just went for a full horror approach, it'd probably be much better. As it is, though, I think it's pretty good and certainly didn't think too negatively about it. Extra points for not feeling long or drawn out. And I loved Matt Smith channeling when he played Patrick Bateman on stage.
I agree with the horror element take that he has there. I wish Marvel would, or Marvel or Sony, but either one would kind of explore that, because like the only 2 that we really have that kind of poke at that would be Morbius, and then you have like New Mutants, where they kind of poke around with that horror element, and I think it worked in those small doses. I just wish they'd commit
Yeah,
really
I was going to say
heavily
poking isn't enough. You need to.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you get a little bit in Multiverse of Madness with the Sam Raimi directed one, and obviously the original Spider-Man movies are like the first one is like legitimately scary, like a good amount of times.
It's got some good scenes.
The first scene where he goes in the fire to like save that woman, and he spins her around, and it's just a fucking Green Goblin.
Love it. Spooks him. We're moving on to Madam Web.
Oh my God!
This is 5 stars from Totally Nottin'. Literally the funniest movie this year. The most I've enjoyed a superhero movie in forever, and you would too if you watched this as if its genre was comedy instead. Here's a 0.5 star from Cerise. I would rather have someone pour cement up my asshole and have it solidify and have them hammer a nail into it than have to watch this again.
Well, come hang out with me Saturday night. We'll get that done for you, brother.
Come on, Cerise, tie up. 0.5 star from Jake. Madam Web is a groundbreaking achievement in experimental editing, experimental cinematography, experimental acting, and experimental storytelling.
Yeah, it's an experimental movie. Yeah.
0.5 star from Adam Bolt. I was at the dentist today for an hour and a half with the Imagine Dragons playing in the background the whole time, and I can't believe that wasn't the most painful experience I had today. Here's 5 stars from Shub Henkar69. This movie is so bad. Holy shit, it's so bad. But also parts of it were like the greatest movie I've ever seen. Like, genuinely. Also, the soundtrack fucking rips ass. Okay, I don't care what you think. The visuals were great. And I loved the color editing. The time jumping sequences were genuinely so good, I loved every moment of them. The 2 intentional jokes made me laugh because it was so ridiculous and they didn't fit the vibe at all. And also, they were funny. Sydney Sweeney was miscast. Dakota Johnson was somehow both miscast and perfectly cast. The ADR is bad. Zoysa Mamet. I don't know what that means.
When he says that the soundtrack rips ass, is he saying that in a positive way or a negative way?
What does rips ass really mean?
It's like fart. So like the soundtrack fart?
I don't know. It's a 5-star review. So
oh no.
Here's a 0.5 star from Jay Morrow. There's Oscar bait, and then there's Razzie bait.
Yep.
Moving on.
It's not getting a Razzie. It's not none of these movies are Razzie movies in my opinion because they're not even spectacularly bad enough to like be nominated for something like that. Like
Madam Web is pretty bad.
Yeah, but they just feel like their lack of heart bad. Like there's no love put into it. There's nothing. Like it's a lack of effort that makes those bad. I think that like when you look at like classic Razzie ones, like Catwoman, for instance, like they tried to make a movie with Catwoman. They tried really hard, and suddenly all my thoughts have just faded out of my head. I can't even. Gee whiz. What was I saying?
Anyways, we were talking about Venom 3 reviews. Here's 3 stars from Adam. In this lifetime, you can either reject Venom dancing to ABBA or embrace it. I choose the latter. Good for you, Adam. 5 stars from Lola with the vampire emoji next to it. Simbrock is so real that they had to put a ship edit in this movie. Also, I love the Thelma and Louise reference.
Simbrock?
I guess Symbiote Brock.
Symbiote Brock. Okay.
Here's 3 stars from Gabby. The fuck-ass Maroon 5 montage was low-key top 5 moments of the year.
Yeah, I agree.
2.5 stars from Just Ken. Visually terrible, boring story, and disgusting special effects. I didn't think it would be this bad, but unfortunately, it was. Although the ending was kind of sweet, and I'll definitely miss my favorite gays. I love them. Here's 1.5 stars from Cameron Federer. This was really bad, but the ending made me tear up a little bit. I have a mental deficiency.
Okay, fucking join the club.
Here's 3 stars from Alex Coleman. I have to come clean and admit I nearly bawled in the theater when my favorite gay couple, V. Eddie Forever and Ever. Now, it's jumbled and filled with hilarious subplots, but to that I raise you the Venom horse, fish, and frog. And Venom dancing with Miss Chin, like, stop playing games. I know you like that shit.
Yeah, okay, so this was you. You wrote this, didn't you? This is your review.
I'm Alex Coleman.
Yeah, that's your review.
Noel, a bit of a cornball, though. I despise the multiverse, just as Venom said.
You know, well, hold on. I had a thought. What was the first sentence of that of that?
I have to come clean and admit I nearly bawled in the theater over my favorite gay couple.
I am an admitted movie crier. Like there are some movies out there that'll make me bawl. If you're crying at the end of a Venom movie, I think there's something else wrong.
You have a mental deficiency.
Yeah. I don't know if that's even a good enough excuse. No. Like, come on, bro.
Moving on, here's our last movie. We're doing Craven. 2-star Craven review from Joe. Thirst Watch, I'd say. A film about daddy issues and Aaron Taylor Johnson looking ridiculously sexy for the entire runtime. Yeah. Oh, and I like to add, Fred Heischinger sings Sign of the Times by Harry Styles.
Yep. All those things happen and are true.
1.5 stars from Joshua Kane. Bloody hell. This made Madam Web look like Casablanca.
No, it didn't.
3 stars. And this is another one from Alex Coleman. So me. Yeah. Sony has mastered the art of making the mid-2000s comic book movie that in 10 years people will go, holy shit, remember when that happened? The R-rated, animalistic, brutal action saved it for me. It's Craven time, and I was seated. I can't believe this iconic Sony-verse is over now. Sad face.
Is Alex Coleman you? Like, genuinely?
No, like Just to clarify, here's Alex Coleman's avatar. Here's me. We're not the same. 1.5 stars from David Chen. Sorry, I just don't think America is ready for a story in which an attractive vigilante with great muscles and abs takes matters into his own hands and starts murdering rich, powerful, and evil people that the justice system won't hold accountable. Ugh. I feel like that's social commentary on something else.
Bang, bang.
Here we have 2.5 stars from Tim Tam Titus.
Tim Tams, bro. It's a Australian little cookie snack thing. They're bad.
I love the part when he's about to fight and says, I've been craving for this.
Yeah.
And last review here from B. Hita, 2 stars. No lube, no protection, all night, all day, from the kitchen floor to the toilet seat, from the dining table to the bedroom, from the bathroom sink to the shower, from the front porch to the balcony, vertically, horizontally, quadratic, exponential, logarithmic, while I gasp for air, scream and see the light, missionary, cowgirl, reverse cowgirl,
Ryan.
Doggy, backwards, sideways, upside down, on the floor, in the bed,
Ryan,
on the
couch,
our
plans for after
on a
the
chair,
podcast.
being carried against the wall, outside, in a train, on a plane, in the car, on a motorcycle, on the bed of a truck, a trampoline, in a bounce house, in the pool, bent over, in the basement, against the window, have the most toe curling, back arching, leg shaking, dick throbbing, fist clenching, ear ringing, mouth drooling, ass clenching, nose sniffling, eye watering, eye rolling, hip thrusting, earthquaking, sheet gripping, knuckles cracking, jaw dropping, hair pulling, teeth jittering, mind boggling, soul snatching, overstimulating, vile, sloppy, moan inducing, heart wrenching, spine tingling, back breaking, atrocious, gushy, creamy, beastly, lip biting, gravity defying, nail biting, sweaty, feet kicking, mind blowing, body shivering, orgasmic, bone breaking, world ending, black hole creating, universe destroying, devious, scrumptious, amazing, delightful, delectable, unbelievable, body rumbling, backworthy, can't walk, head nodding, soul evaporating, volcano erupting, sweat rolling, voice cracking, trembling, sheet soaked, hair drenched, flabbergasting, lip locking, skin peeling, eyelash removing, eye widening, pussy popping, nail scratching, back cuts, spectacular, brain cell dissolving, hair ripping, show stopping, magnificent, unique, extraordinary, splendid, phenomenal, mouth foaming, heavenly, awakening, devil tango forever, Craven could cause a nuclear bomb inside me. And I'd still ride. Let's just sit in that for a moment.
It was nice hanging out today, bud.
Thank you. We're going to wrap things up today with a little edit that I went ahead and put together. But before we do that, I do want to talk about the future of the Sony Marvel universe going forward. Yes, we're almost done. Home stretch. So Sony, the Sony universe for Marvel characters is dead. It is officially dead, but Sony will still be making Spider-Man movies and TV shows. But the central focus has now shifted to Spider-Man centric projects. So we are getting Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland. We are getting Spider-Verse 3. Very much looking forward to that. I would like that movie. And we are getting a Nicolas Cage-led Spider-Man noir series,
which I'm genuinely excited for.
I'm excited to see.
I think that's going to be awesome.
I'm not sure if it's going to be good, but I'm interested to see it play out.
But look at their track record, Ryan.
Right.
They've made money.
They made money. So it's hard to argue with results despite the quality. Is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to? Anything that you want to see in the future?
I want them to give up. I want them to give it back to Disney and let Disney mess it up in their own special way.
Yeah, just let the mouse have it.
Yep. Give it to the mouse. I'm tired of us pretending like their monopoly over the entertainment industry isn't nearly complete. And Sony needs to stop holding out and just let it happen.
Give it to them. Just give it to them.
Just let them have it.
I'm looking forward to Tom Holland Spider-Man 4, but I'm definitely most looking forward to Spider-Verse 3.
Okay, you're right. I have more to say. I'm looking forward to Spider-Man 4
Very much so.
A lot, actually. Yeah. Did you see that they were talking about doing like a team-up style movie, which first of all three have been team-up movies, but they were wanting to do like to be the main focus that it's a Spider-Man and someone else in a team-up role. And I was seeing something. Obviously, like a lot of people are like Deadpool. It's too early to do a Deadpool one.
Don't do Deadpool Spider-Man.
I think it could work, but not yet.
Don't do it.
You need to wait a pretty long time before something like that happens, and it'd have to be rated R.
I just think it's forced.
So, well, it depends. It's got to be later. It's got to happen naturally. No, I want Daredevil.
Yeah, that was my first thought too. Bring him in. Like he was already in No Way Home, so just fucking put him in there.
Yeah,
like,
have him just wail on Kingpin.
Yes,
like it's right there.
Do Spider-Man, Daredevil, Kingpin.
It's right there. It exists. It's right there for us.
Yeah. And Charlie Cox and Tom Holland, they're both British, so like they probably know each other
they've been in.
along.
They were in.
Yeah.
Charlie Cox was in No Way Home. So
Jinx. So Ty's not going to talk for the rest of the video. That is going to do us for today. Stick around for our little in memoriam edit. R.I.P. to the Sony universe of Marvel characters.
Hi, Eddie.
Look at this. Look at this. Having the time of her life.
He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
I should have died years ago.
That is all I ever wanted in this world.
You are a reject! You are a pariah!
You've been trying to change your future. But the girls were never your future.
I was.
Put us out of our misery.
Time to die! We are leaving.
Have a nice life. We are.
I got that adrenaline, not knowing when I'm
I'm with you to the end.
Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate you
geez.
sticking it out with us. We hope to do more content like this in the future. If you haven't already, go ahead and leave us a like on this video. It helps out a lot. And hit that subscribe button as well. We'd really appreciate it. And tell us what you think down below in the comments. Do you want more from the Sony universe of Marvel characters? Are you ready to see something new? What are you looking forward to? Did you hate seeing us in person? Let us know. We'll make changes. We will. And thank you again for watching. All right, Ty, you ready? We're going to do another hour on Madam Web. All right, here we go.
I'm signing off. I love you.
Goodbye.